You hear it before dawn, that soft rustling in the coop, the gentle clucking that means breakfast is almost ready. Not for the chickens, for you, because somewhere in that wooden box, a hen is about to do something that seems simple, but is actually one of the most efficient biological manufacturing processes on the planet. Every single day, everyone sees chickens laying eggs. We crack them for breakfast. We don't think twice about it. But how the hell does a chicken produce a perfect, hard-shelled egg in just 24 hours? A complete protein package wrapped in calcium armor with a yolk suspended perfectly in the center. And she does this almost every day for years. What's happening inside that bird? Let's start with the obvious thing nobody notices. Chickens weren't always egg-laying machines. Wild jungle fowl, their ancestors, laid maybe 10 to 15 eggs a year, just enough to raise a small brood, until the 1950s when selective breeding exploded. Companies like Highline figured out how to manipulate reproductive cycles and select for birds that essentially never stop ovulating. Modern commercial layers produce 300 plus eggs per year. We turned a seasonal bird into a biological assembly line. Today, when you see a chicken lay an egg, you're watching the end of a 24-hour production cycle. Think of a hen as having a tiny ovary packed with thousands of potential egg yolks like a cluster of grapes. Every day, one yolk grows large enough to break free. That's ovulation, but it happens almost daily. The yolk, a giant single cell loaded with nutrients, drops into the oviduct. It's like a conveyor belt system, except the conveyor is living tissue that wraps around the yolk as it travels. But here comes the part nobody sees. As that yolk moves through the oviduct, it gets wrapped in layers. First, the egg white, secreted by glands in the tube walls. Imagine the yolk rolling through a coating machine. Then it reaches the shell gland, where it sits for about 20 hours while calcium carbonate crystals form around it. The hen is literally pulling calcium from her bones and bloodstream to build that shell. It's like a 3D printer working from the inside, depositing microscopic crystals until you have a shell strong enough to protect, but porous enough to let an embryo breathe. The result? A hen produces an egg that's roughly 2% of her body weight every single day. For a human, that would be like producing a 3-pound object daily. A single layer produces about 6 pounds of eggs per month from just 4 pounds of feed. It's transforming grain into perfect protein with 95% efficiency. If you're finding this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe to The Curious Mechanism for more hidden engineering stories. But you're probably thinking, what if she runs out of calcium? The chicken isn't dumb. Her body monitors calcium levels constantly. If depleted, she'll pull more from her skeleton or lay a thin-shelled egg, nature's way of prioritizing survival. The whole process is controlled by hormones working like an automated factory scheduler. Now comes the invisible part, the real biological engineering. Hens have 2 ovaries at birth, but only the left one develops. The right stays dormant as backup. The oviduct has multiple sections, each with specialized cells and redundant glands. If one area underperforms, others compensate. And the shell? It has 7,000 to 17,000 tiny pores, precisely sized to allow oxygen in and carbon dioxide out, while keeping bacteria out. That's microscopic engineering. But here's an uncomfortable truth. Our entire breakfast culture depends on this biological machine working flawlessly. Americans consume 95 billion eggs per year. If chickens stopped laying for just 1 week, grocery stores would empty, restaurants would scramble, food costs would spike. And we forget that because it works too well. We see eggs as a commodity, not as the result of a hen's daily metabolic marathon. A chicken laying an egg isn't just a barnyard animal doing barnyard things. Its critical infrastructure is disguised as a clucking bird. So next time you crack an egg into a pan, pause for a second. You're holding the end product of a 24-hour biological assembly line that repurposes grain into perfect nutrition, pulls minerals from bone, and builds a calcium fortress, all inside a 3-pound bird. You're seeing a daily miracle that most people think is simple, but is absurdly difficult. If this changed the way you see chickens in your backyard, subscribe to The Curious Mechanism and hit the like button. Share this with someone who never thought about where their breakfast actually comes from. This is The Curious Mechanism, exploring the invisible systems that keep the world running.